Hey everyone, I'm here to give my review of the newest episode of Push Girls, which aired on Monday night. This is episode 8, and this episode was an extremely emotional one. Tiffany was going to her 10-year high school reunion, which fell on the same day as her 10-year anniversary of being in a wheelchair. She was really nervous, and one of the things that she was worried about was that people were going to judge her based on who they knew her to be in high school. One of the things that she said she was expecting was people to come up to her and go, "You're still in a wheelchair?" Or the people that didn't know to come up to her and go, "Oh my god, you're in a wheelchair?" And, okay, being in a wheelchair all my life, I know some people ask stupid questions and sometimes state the obvious. So it shows her packing and leaving, and she has everything piled up onto her lap, and I was pretty surprised that nothing fell off. So she goes into her story, and she tells us how she wasn't the best teenage role model. She was into the sex, drugs, rock and roll type thing, and she had partied really hard the day of her accident. She had taken ecstasy and drank alcohol, and she was with 2 of her friends. Somebody who had left the party early was the person that hit her car. And it was a girl who had gotten drunk at the party. Everyone was pronounced dead at the scene of the accident, but they had managed to cut Tiffany out of the car. And when they got to the hospital, she had 24 hours worth of surgery done on her. She was in a coma for 3 weeks, and the doctors had said if she even made it past the first week, she would still only have a 5% chance of surviving. Which, again, goes to show doctors don't know shit. She didn't understand when she woke up why she couldn't move her legs and why there was a wheelchair by her bed. But her dad had told her that it was a gift from God that she was even alive after what she had been through. After she was released from the hospital, she went back to her old ways, and it was her way of coping with what had happened to her. And after partying hard one night, she ended up in the hospital overnight. And that's when she realized that she was throwing her life away, and she decided to pick up and move to LA to change her life around. Then we see Audrey, Mia, and Angela out together. And when Angela goes out, she sometimes uses her power chair. She doesn't like to use it that often because she likes to try to keep her strength, which is exactly why I won't get a power chair. But, with the limited use of her upper body anyway, I could see why somebody in a quadriplegic situation would want one. So after shopping, the girls go to Angela's house. Mia tells them that she wants a swim coach, and they had thought that she already had one, but she was just doing her training by herself at that point. She wanted somebody with credentials in the Paralympics or something like that, and she actually found somebody who was nonprofit. Since she hasn't swam since high school, she is nervous, but she wants his critiques. So the girls are all telling her, call the coach, and Audrey says that she understands why she's nervous because, doing this may make her see that paralysis maybe did take something from her, and she's nervous to face that. Then we go back to Tiffany, who is arriving home with her dad and her stepmom. She says going home reminds her of who she used to be and how her family has put up with so much from her that she put them through for so many years. Her dad was interviewed and said that she was definitely a stubborn teenager, and she did what she wanted. Then they ask her about her reunion, and they tease her about getting ready at 11 a.m. Her and her dad are really close. So then her dad asks her if she wants to go to the scene of the accident and just spend some time together. He says how he didn't even know where it was because he has never wanted to go back and relive the pain of it. He said he hasn't dealt with the pain of almost losing her, but now he feels he's ready and he wants to turn that day into something positive. Like, he wants to look at it like he still has her and she made it. Tiffany was shocked because her dad isn't the type to get emotional, and her dad says that he feels like the accident saved her life because the path that she was on before would have ended up killing her. She tells him that she's not sure if she's ready to go see the scene yet because she's not sure how to deal with the fact that she was the only survivor. Even today, she's not sure how to deal with it yet. And then we go to Mia practicing her swimming. She says once she knew she wanted to get back into it, she needed a coach that understood her situation. And she wanted to be critiqued so that she can correct what she was doing wrong. And then the coach wanted to see her strokes. She says how it's interesting to feel the dynamics of swimming now and the differences because her body used to be so much easier to maneuver and lighter. She says it's much more strenuous having to solely rely on her upper body, and that sometimes when she's doing a stroke, that if she makes one more wrong move, then she'll be swallowing water. Her coach says that her technique needs a lot of work, and it could take from 9 months to a year. Mia says how it's easy to want something so bad, but then realize once you go for it, how much more work you have ahead of you, which I can relate to because I'm writing a book. But she says how getting to this point made her realize that there's like a flight of stairs to climb now. She doesn't want to be shown up, and her coach wants her to train around 3 to 4 times a week. Her biggest fear is that if she doesn't do well, then it'll make her think that the paralysis took something from her, and she's not ready to face it yet if it comes to that point, which I don't think it will. Then we go to Tiffany and her friend Gina, who she's known since 3rd grade, getting ready for the 10-year reunion. Tiffany is nervous and embarrassed of the person that she used to be. She never remembered half of what she did, and she hopes that people will look at her and get past that past image of her. Because she's worked so hard to change her life around, and she hopes people see that. Which, hello, one of the stars of Sundance Channel. If that's not turning your life around, I don't know what is. So first thing she sees when she goes into the reunion is a flight of stairs, and she gets carried up outside of the chair, which is something I tend to do because I don't like the feeling of being carried in it. It just freaks me out. She says how it was very intimidating rolling into the reunion, and she didn't even recognize some people, which is pretty normal, but she said that the reunion ended up being fun. From what I saw, only one person asked her about how she was that day because of the accident. They connected the dates, I guess. But she was really happy that everybody took her for who she was today. Tiffany ends up seeing Roger, who was a volunteer firefighter at the time, and was on the scene the night of the accident. And she tells him that she feels blessed to be alive. And she said that she was comforted knowing that somebody she knew was on the scene that night. And she tells him that she still doesn't know everything that happened that night, but she doesn't want to. And then she gives him a hug. You could see he was getting a little emotional. And I was like crying through most of this episode. Then we go to Auntie and Eric's apartment, where Auntie is giving Bats the dog a bath. And Mia rolls in. Mia tells Auntie about her swim coach session, and Auntie is proud of her for even doing that. She tells her, you could do this, you're stronger than you know. I feel like Auntie is the mom. Nothing to do with age, but she's like the mom of the group. Angela too, I feel like, though. But Auntie is like, I don't know. In one-on-one, Auntie says that Mia seems like she's avoiding the next step, which is hindering her from what could be something great. At this point, Mia is leaning towards doing it, because at least if she does it, she'll be able to say that she did it. And she says how talking to Auntie was the last push that she needed to not cop out of it. And then she asks Auntie if she'll be there, which of course she said yes. So in the last scene of the episode, Tiffany and her dad are driving to the scene of the accident, because Tiffany's finally ready. She said that it had been 10 years, she couldn't keep putting it off, and she was just ready to face it. Her dad says that at one point it was the worst day of their lives, but now they can look back and be thankful that they still have her. Tiffany says that it's like driving back to the moment that changed her life forever, and how it hurts knowing what the accident and her previous behavior did to her family. At this point, her dad wanted to pray for her friends that passed in the car, and he tells her that he loves her and how proud he is of her. She says that she felt her dad's pain and how scared he must have felt when she was in her accident. Her stepmom says that, today's a better day, and Tiffany says how she feels for all of the families that lost people in the car that night. But her dad said that they got precious cargo back that night. But Tiffany keeps thinking of what the families lost. Her dad says that he was devastated when he found out she was paralyzed, but he feels lucky to have her. Which I'm glad he looks at it that way, and doesn't pity her or anything like that because of the paralysis. And then they pray together, and Tiffany says how she can only try to do the best that she can now, being the only survivor. On her way home, she says that she felt peace and comfort and optimistic. She knew she was running away by moving to LA after the accident. And she says that it took her a long time to realize that she was feeling guilty. But now a lot is lifted off of her shoulders. And she says that she's happy and confident in the woman that she's blossomed into, which she should be. That's the end of this episode, but I want to close by saying that I know people tend to judge actors and actresses and singers and what have you in the entertainment business. So I know it's not going to be all sunshine and roses after this episode toward Tiffany. But people need to back off and take her, like the people at the reunion, take her for who she is today, because I'm very proud of her. That's it for this review. Subscribe to my channel if you like this video, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.